Hello everybody, this is Marcy coming to you with a tutorial on how to draw the human head and face. And although this seems mighty complex when you're trying to do it, I want to tell you a little bit about how I learned, and there are actually two things. One is actually looking at a person, and the other one actually looking at a real live human being. So drawing from life is essential, that you take a look at where shadows fall on the face when light hits it. But the second way I call knowledge, and that is that the structure of the human face is very symmetrical. And if you know these basic measurements to start, before you start drawing from life, or even if you choose to not draw from life, just knowing these measurements, how to put them on the page, will really help you become completely capable of drawing a human face. So I did an initial sketch here to show you how things lay out. And I'm just going to go through it quickly again. The first thing that you want to do is notice this line goes directly down the center of the oval of the face. So first let me just draw this oval. So just like I would just be sketching it. And as you do this, it's essential not to worry about making mistakes. Your eraser is as much of a tool as any other tool you use in art, and never be afraid to use it. That's what it's there for. So, some purists don't like to use erasers. I'm like, use whatever works. So, not a perfect oval, but here I want to show you again, you're going to draw that line directly down the center, or as close as you can get. You don't have to get, super human in your measurements. I don't even have a ruler here. So I'm drawing that right down the center. Now the next thing you're going to find in the center are the eyes. Most people want to put the eyes up here somewhere, but actually they're about in the center of the head. So let's just go ahead and draw a line through the center of this oval, which we're calling the head. And I'm going to try to keep this as straight as possible on the edge here. This edge, so I know I've got a straight line. So that's where your eyes will go. Now let's take a look. For eyes are here. I want you to look at the difference between here, the eyes and the chin. About halfway between the eyes and the chin is another line, and that's where you're going to put the nose. So let's look at about halfway down. Not perfect, but about halfway. I'm eyeballing it because I don't want everybody to get all hung up on measurements. That's not essential. So let's put a line here for the nose. Now, if you notice here, about halfway, just a little higher between the nose and the chin, you have the mouth. So let's go put in that line. I think that's about right. So I'm going to put that line. Now, if you want to take another almost halfway or a little above halfway view, let's take a look at where the hair might hit on this head. Somewhere up here. Let's just put a line there. So if you've got those lines to start with, you have just started on the human face. So let's just go ahead and sketch some things in here. Now this skull, and that's what is under our hair, is that skull. It's going to come somewhere like this. Now another measurement people tend to put the wrong place, I always did, are the ears. Your ears start right about at, and you can feel this on your own head, your ears will start right about the center of your eyes, and they will come down to your nose. So let's put them in. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw these eyes in. And this is not going to be anywhere near perfect. I have Actually, I'm telling you honestly, I have trouble drawing and speaking at the same time. I think it, and I've just started doing these tutorials, and I think it really requires two different parts of my brain which do not like to work together. So I have to keep quiet when I draw. But also, here's another measurement. Between the eyes is about the measurement of an eye. So how would I measure that? I'm going to look at use my pencil like it's a little ruler. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to think that other eye is going to start somewhere around here. Maybe not, but let's see what happens. I do much better if I'm not speaking, but can't do that. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now let's look at another measurement. I want you to draw from the corner of the eye a line down, and that is where your nose will start. So I'm going to do that. And from this eye, the same thing as well. Where's the corner? It's going to come up like that. Looks a little odd. Now you see how those police sketches are done, right? Okay. So now we're going to do another measurement. I want you to draw a line right from the middle of the nostril down. Mine is off. I'm always a little crooked. I think I see crookedly. But that's where the tip on a perfect human being would be of that mouth. So now I'm going to do this. Now we're going to look at another measurement from the center of your eyeball. If you drew a line straight down, I'm not using this because I typically don't. But if you draw a straight line, let's measure. Oh, see how terrible I am at this. Anyway, so if I'm going to draw a straight line down from the center of the eye, which I'm doing really poorly with this ruler, that is where the mouth kind of ends. So the center line here is where your lips are. So we have a facsimile of a person emerging here. Still kind of hairless. Now I'm going to put in the eyelids. And here's another one that I learned always goes kind of awry. Your eyeballs are like a marble. They are not oval like a cat. A lot of people draw an eye like that. Your eye is not like a cat. It is actually round. So when you draw an eyeball, I want you to think of a marble. Round. And again, you're going to get rid of your lines that you don't want by using that tool that I mentioned that we all have, which is an eraser. See, and I can see right now, which I always do, I am making one eye bigger than the other. And to counteract my screwed upness, which I always have, I can use the straight edge to go, oh, wait, look, the eye is in the wrong place. And I'll do that. And you'll notice yourself, doing oddball things like this, but that's okay. That's why we have both knowledge and vision. So let's take a look at where those things are lining up to make sure they're straight. That one eye is not gigantic. You can see here I've got this eyelid is a little off. So we're going to use knowledge here because I'm not actually looking at a human being. And I can see already too that this eye is larger. So rather than measure that right now, measure that inward, which I could, I'm going to leave that because I don't want this to be a really lengthy tutorial, but let's see if we just can't get it just a tad smaller. So I always look then, I'm looking at spaces. Is this space between here and here, is that off? You bet it is. See that? I can see that. That space is a lot larger. And let me, again, here's a tool. Watch. Let's see. I'm looking right from here to here. That's how far it is on this side. Now, when I go over here, what happens? Oh my gosh, I'm off a good, 1/4 inch. So that means either this eye moves over or this eye isn't big enough, but we need to make sure that these are proper. So let's see how big this eye is. Again, I use my fingers on that one end. These are things I was taught. Fingers on this pencil. And I'm using it as a quick ruler. Now they're about the same size. So I'm going to make this eye just a little bit larger. Make this eye go over a little bit. And what about the space between here and here? I think that's off as well. Yes, it definitely is. So this eye either is going to come in more. Again, so you're seeing now how I'm checking myself, and I just keep on checking myself till all the basics are complete, which they aren't for this. These eyes are off. But rather than go and keep correcting and correcting and correcting, I'm just going to stay here with this and go ahead and do this a little bit off. Because one of the things you find too is the things that are different about people is how things are off. I mean, everybody's face is a little bit different. Now your pupil, once again, your pupil is round. It is not a slit like a cat's. So let's put a pupil in here that's round. Okay, this guy's just going to have an eye issue for now, a little bit over here. So these are our nostrils. So let's put them in. And when you put that black in, there's no such thing as a real nostril. What you're doing when you're drawing these little things, these are shadows. So think when you're looking at a face, that's a shadow. The space between our lips, that's a shadow. So when you're drawing from life or drawing from anything, the dark spaces here are shadows. The things that you can put in our ear, shadows. They're not actual lines. Nobody has lines on their face. So just to give her a little bit more, whoever, a little bit more reality, let's take a look at where the eyebrows go. And ladies, you might have heard this because look where that eyebrow goes. It's going to go right at the outside of her pupil, the arch. Okay, and it's going to come down like that. Looks very odd, but I want you to go all the way to the edge of that pupil and then come down. And actually, it's going to go by the eyeball. This is a side I messed up on. So not perfect. I don't do portraits all the time anymore, so I'm out of practice actually. But I want you to get an idea that there's a knowledge base, and you can find tons of these online that are going to be actually better than this drawing. So this looks more like a prison shot here, but okay, so let's give the person some hair. There's that line. And here's the line for that hair. What this designates right here, that is the top of your skull. Because, you have a skull in there. And actually, that's the back of the skull. So here we have some more hair. Now if you see right now, this lady over here, this person over here weighs quite a bit more. And that's what I mean. The, the, uh, the, 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 the differences in how you draw this face. will indicate who you're actually drawing. And so all these measurements, like somebody's eyes might be a little bit further apart, but the basic way that our face and skull is laid out is always pretty much the same. They're just, so let's say I want her to have a thinner face. Well, we'll just, bring this in. And actually her chin is a little long, so now I take this out. So I'm gonna go down here like this. So again, looks a little bit demented. Here's your ears that stop right at the bottom of the nose. They come up here. Actually, they're even a little bit higher. So, not perfect, but basic face. And again, it's measurements. So the thing that you take away from this tutorial is from the top of the head to the bottom of the head, draw a line down the middle, halfway, 1/2, is where the center of your eyes will hit, right there. So that's 1/2 from the top to the chin. Now you want to take another half, 1/2. There's your nose, the bottom of that nose. Now, approximately 1/2, sometimes it's down or up, depending on the person's lips. Look at another half. So those are the measurements on this side. Now, here, center of the eye, edge of the lip. That's where your lips are ending. Center of the eye. Center of that nostril, the lips. Center of the nostril, the lips. So you can see all the basic dimensions here, and that's how you draw a face. So if you get, let's say that you get a photograph of your wife, husband, child, put it down and start like this. Or you can even make, I'd say, try making a photocopy of that, and try making sure they're looking head on, because if they tilt their head, it's going to be harder to do these dimensions exactly like this. That's a whole nother type of thing you'd need to think about. But try drawing these on a photocopy of a face, and you'll see quickly how you can come up with something that looks like a facsimile of a face. And then you might try looking at that photocopy and just seeing how far these dimensions are off, which would make the person look differently. So that's the lesson for today. And as a follow-up to this, I'm going to be showing you how to use this basis as a really neat colored pencil and marker project. So we'll take this into an actual portrait with lots of neat techniques. So maybe you don't want to start with anyone at all, but just a basic face, and we'll make it into a really cool portrait together. So we'll see you next time on Marcy Fine Art. Bye-bye.